it's Amanda again. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are well. I hope with all the changes and the social distancing going on in your lives that you're still able to find time for you. Tonight's practice, we're going to go through a gentle flow or more recovery flow. It's really good for working through injuries or working through our bodies that might not be cooperating with our change of lifestyles we've encountered lately. Just remember, take it at your own pace, honor your body, listen to it, and know that everything's optional. Otherwise, we'll get started. I always start my practice with a joke, a bad one, because when you moan, sigh, groan, or chuckle, you're breathing, and one of the foundations of yoga is breath. So tonight's joke is, what did the grape say when you crushed it? Nothing, but it let out a little whine. Yep, that's a bad one. So we'll get started today on our backs. Make your way down whatever's comfortable. I'm going to turn for demonstration purposes, but I'll turn back and face you guys as we go through our practice today. Know that if you need to have a prop, a block, or a strap are always great ones to have. They help us reach places that might not be accessible on a normal day, or if we need to back off and take it easy, be more gentle with our bodies, that allows us as well. Pillows, also a great option. Anything, if you want a chair, well, feel free to take those modifications as you see fit. Now, as we begin on our backs, I want you to find a place where you can lay entirely on the ground, thinking the entire length of the spine. Now, if you are tensing up the body, you may have some areas that are a little more tight. Say the shoulders, especially if you're clenching your jaw or those ears, or the shoulders are rising up to your ears. You may notice that tension as you lie here on the floor, because that upper back, the area between the shoulder blades, all the way to the bottom of the neck, to the skull, the thoracic region of the spine, and to the cervical region of the spine, may not be making good contact with the floor. It may be trying to lift up. If you notice that, take a deep breath in. Encourage the body to relax a little bit more. Then mindfully relax those shoulders away from the ears. Maybe try tucking your chin slightly closer to your chest. Feeling the entire length of the upper back, making that even contact so that you have similar pressure or weight distributed along the vertebrae. Another area of tension that you may be holding on to, especially at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, soon after you rise up from bed, is the low back. If your hips are tight, you may want to bend the knees and plant the feet on the floor, encouraging the hips to come into more of a neutral alignment. Then you should feel that low back really grounding down into the floor. And as that entire length of the spine now, from the tailbone to the head, makes contact, you should feel that tension start to release, or at least distribute more evenly in the body. Now that we've found this position to begin our practice, We want to call attention to not only our body, but find our breath. Notice what is your natural breath today. Maybe deep inhales and exhales comes easily. If that's the case, I want you to focus on lengthening the amount of time that it takes you to breathe in and breathe out. Perhaps matching the amount of time. Say if you breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. Now, if you're running on high anxiety, and no one blames if you are, especially given the environment that we are working with right now, you may be more naturally inclined to take half breaths or shallow breaths. If that's what you notice, where you're only partially filling up your lungs and the belly does not rise with the inhale, I want you to see if you can try to breathe in deep enough that the belly lifts with every inhale. And then when you exhale, the belly completely empties, almost hollows out. Continuing to work with that, or whatever breath you're comfortable with. Now, a great breath that I like to use when I'm lying on my back, especially when I'm trying to draw myself into my practice, is my 3-part breath. I take a hand and place it on my heart, and my other hand placing it on my belly as I breathe in through the nose. That's part 1. Now continue to breathe in deeper, lifting the hand on your heart. Continuing that deep inhale, breathing in your fullest yet, lifting the hand on your belly for part 3. Then as you exhale, gently lowering the hand on your belly. Continuing to exhale, lower the hand on your heart. And then completely emptying the body of breath. Exhale out the nose. Continuing to work within that control. Now that pattern of breath or that rhythm may not come naturally. And this is why we practice. But again, whatever draws you here to this presence as we've worked through our body, our breath, finding our focus on our mind. Sometimes our mind is the last thing to enter our practice, and it could use a little encouragement. With this, I want you to find something you would like to dedicate your practice to. Whether it's a goal to be more gentle with yourself, or maybe challenging yourself by stepping outside of your comfort zone. But sometimes that goal-oriented around yourself is not easy, and it may be easier to dedicate your practice to somebody special in your life who needs a little extra love. But using that dedication, that goal, the special thoughts, anytime the mind starts to wander away, as a gentle reminder to draw yourself back to this present moment. Now, as you continue to breathe, you may relax your arms by your side if you chose to use them in your 3-part breath. Continue that deep breathing, but we're going to slowly transition, drawing our left knee to chest. Hugging it close to your body. Now you may notice that you need to keep that right knee bent, or you may be more comfortable lengthening it long, deepening the stretch for you. Wherever you are, gently easing into that deep hinge, and then circling that left knee. Now the size of your circle may vary. You may start with small or start with large. Circling it in one direction. The speed, also very personal. Just working within that hip joint, that ball and socket joint. Now gently reversing that circle, going the opposite direction. We're working within that full range of movement that's available to us. And coming back to stillness. Hug that knee to your chest one more time before opening it out to the left side. Careful to keep that right hip on the floor as we encourage the left inner thigh to open as well as those hip flexors. Now you can remain here or transition into a half happy baby, flexing that left foot, stacking the ankle over the knee. Your hand can come behind the thigh, hugging the calf. Or if you can reach for the foot without lifting your head, neck, shoulders, or hip off the floor, you may. Now we are trying to encourage that knee-ankle alignment to remain there, not letting the leg fall out to the side. But you can also deepen that deep hip crease by pressing the knee closer to the floor, but only as long as you do not compromise that 90-degree angle of the leg. Now gently release that foot. Draw the knee back to center, planting that foot on the ground. As you keep that knee bent, draw that right knee, bending it, planting the foot beside the left if you have not done so already. Dropping both knees over now to the left side, stacking the knees. Our gaze remains on the ceiling, or taking it over that right shoulder if the neck allows. You can extend the right arm out to the side, further encouraging a deeper twist in the upper back. Now, if you have low back issues, you may be more comfortable taking a block between the knees or a pillow between the knees, or taking your knees closer to the body. Gently taking your gaze back to center, our knees back to center, using our feet, lifting our hips and straightening our back once more. From here, our right knee will come to our chest. We're going to hug it close to the body. Again, if you're comfortable to do so and would like to extend the left leg long, you may, or keep it bent the entire time. Hugging that knee to your chest, really starting to wake up or loosen those hips. Feeling the weight of the leg to help stretch out and lengthen that low back. Then from here, circling that right knee, working and exploring through that range of motion in that hip joint. And you may notice differences from one side to the other. We all have a side that's a preference or more dominant. It tends to be stronger and perhaps tighter. Now gently reversing that circle, going the opposite direction. Again, you can do small circles, big circles, fast or slow. Kind of feel like it's in a Dr. Seuss book. Then coming back to stillness, hug from the knee to chest, opening it up to the right side. Keeping that left hip carefully grounded here. And you can actively press it into the floor to help deepen that stretch as needed. Now remembering to breathe. If you encounter tightness, your first inclination may be to hold your breath. Try not to do so. Flexing that right foot, drawing yourself into half happy baby, that leg in that 90-degree angle. Your hand can come behind thigh, calf, or if you can reach for the foot without compromising the position of the leg, you may do so. Drawing deeper into that fold, working the knee closer to the floor. Still breathing deeply and releasing that foot, allowing the knee to come back to center, taking the foot to the earth, keeping the bend of the knee, drawing the left foot beside the right. From here, taking both knees over to the right side, stacking these, taking pillow or block between the legs as necessary. Gaze can remain on the ceiling, or taking it over to the side. Left arm may reach out or extend to the side to help keep both shoulder blades on the floor. Coming back to stillness, our gaze to center, our arm to center, our knees to forgive me. Taking our gaze now over to the right side, the arm extends over the body, the left arm reaching towards the right side, using it to help brace you as you come up into seated gently. Your head is the last thing to rest. As you make your way into seated, I want you to find a comfortable position where your tailbone can root down. It can be on the floor, or you can elevate your hips higher than your knees if you're encountering any knee pain, if the easy pose is not so easy. You may also take your legs out straight, one or both legs. You may find that you can initially hold the pose, but you may need to adjust accordingly. Find what works for you. Having your head stacked over your shoulders stacked over your hips, lengthening through the body, lifting the ribs away. Continue that deep breathing. From here, taking our left ear to left shoulder, stretching deeply through the right side of the neck. Right hand can reach to the floor, and left hand has the option to rest on the side of the head. We're not tugging or pulling, we're simply allowing the weight of the hand to work with gravity. Taking a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. With your next deep breath in, lifting your hand, allowing it to return to the lap, both hands in fact, lifting the head and slowly working it towards the right side. Right ear to right shoulder, left hand to floor, right hand may rest on the side of the head. Continuing to breathe deeply, trying to find the length, and releasing the hands, returning them to left. Taking your head back to center, lifting your gaze, taking it high to the sky, stretching through the front of the neck as we open our hearts and our chest. Exhale, taking our gaze to the floor, our chin to chest. Inhale, taking our gaze to ceiling, maybe extending our belly forward, coming into a seated cow. Exhale, rolling the spine behind you, taking your gaze to the floor, extending your back behind you, seated cat. Continuing to flow between the two poses. Inhale, seated cow, and exhale, seated cat. Taking it at your own pace, following your own breath, as we gently work into the back and the belly, which makes up the core, which supports our back and body during our practice. As you flow with breath, we are also creating vinyasa, or creating the connection between mind and body by moving with breath. Now, after your next flow, coming back into stillness, gently work your legs back behind you, coming into a tabletop or hands and knees pose. In tabletop, your hands are stacked under your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, your fingers are spread wide. Now, if it hurts your wrist for some reason, you can always take a fist or extra cushion underneath the hands to help alleviate the pressure on the wrist. I also want you to be very mindful of the elbow joint. If you're very mobile, you may notice that as you extend the arms, you hyperextend, taking our elbows out of a good alignment, putting too much pressure on the joints. And our elbows, much like our knees, are the weakest joints in the body, so we need to be protectful anytime they are bearing weight. From here, Uddiyana Bandha, roll that belly button towards your spine, lengthening the entire length of the spine. Our gaze is underneath our nose, incorporating our head into that clean, crisp line as well. From here, taking our right hand forward, working into our spinal extension, keeping our core tight, strong, and stable, lifting through that left leg. Holding it here, lifting the arm no higher than shoulder level, the leg no higher than hip level. Gently releasing hand to the floor, keeping that left leg long, flexing that foot, allowing the ball of the foot to rest at the back edge of the mat as you drive through the heel, activating through that hamstring. You can remain here or cross that leg over the right, taking the toe off the edge of the mat, incorporating a small hip twist. You can remain here or take the gaze over the shoulder, peeking back at those left toes, taking an even deeper side stretch. Slowly working your gaze back underneath your nose, your knee back underneath your hip, we return to our tabletop once more. This time we're going to reach the left arm forward, gaze still under the nose, and the right leg, finding our spinal extension. Holding it here, our strength comes through the core stability. Taking our left hand to mat, our right leg long, flexing the foot, allowing the ball of the foot to rest at the back edge of the mat, driving through that heel. Holding it here, or option to take left over or right over left. Maybe gaze stays under nose or gazing over that back right shoulder or left shoulder. Excuse me while I get my directions mixed up. It has been a minute, a little rusty. Taking our gaze back underneath our nose, our knee back underneath our hip, we return to our tabletop pose once more. From here, walking our hands forward, our modified high plank. So we shift our hips forward, but keeping them engaged, a gentle bend of the elbows. Hugging our ribs on the way down as we bring ourselves to the floor, belly down, elbows hugged in. Careful to not shrug our shoulders here. Reach through those big toes, active through the legs, lifting the gaze, baby cobra. Drawing those shoulder blades down away from the ears. Keep that belly tight. Lower the head, press through the hands, shifting ourselves back through tabletop, taking a child's pose. Knees may be together or working towards the edge of the mat. Big toes touching. You may be able to drop your hips towards your heels. They may not reach, but eventually working our way there. If you you are working through knee pain or hip pain and you want to modify keeping our hips lifted and stacked over the knees, you may do so. You may find a deeper stretch through the shoulders by reaching our hands more forward towards the top edge of the mat. Now continuing to stretch and reach, growing tall through that side body. I want everybody to walk their hands over to the right side. As you walk your hands to the right side, your head and shoulders remain squared to the floor. So your forehead is still resting down. You're extending through that side body. Now you may keep yourself here, or option to take the left or right hand and place it on top of left, rotating our shoulders, taking our gaze underneath that right arm. Still breathing deeply here. And gently releasing the hands, walking them back to center. Inhale, reach through the arms, find that length through the side body. Then exhale, walking hands over to the left side, forehead and shoulders squared to the floor. You can remain here, isolating deeply through that right side body, or taking the left hand, placing it on top of the right, and rotating the gaze underneath the arm. Gently releasing the hands and walking them back to center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, we rise, making our way into our tabletop. From here, our right foot steps forward, taking the leg between the hands, the knee and the ankle aligned, or maybe trike the knee behind the ankle slightly. Your hands can remain here on the floor, maybe on a block, but if you're comfortable walking them up to the knee, maybe they rest here, maybe the head stays forward, maybe lifted and stacked. We are trying to work through the front of that left hip, maybe dropping a little bit lower, but not so much so that that knee goes forward. If you notice the knee starts to go forward, you may need to step that front leg more forward or extend the back leg further behind you. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Slowly from here, taking our hands back to the floor, hugging them around that front leg. Tuck that back toe, lifting through the leg, and either a big step or a couple small steps as you bring yourself forward into a forward fold. Feet stacked under hips, knees bent enough, belly can rest on the thigh, letting our head, neck, and shoulders hang heavy. If you wish to nod here gently, yes and no, you can do so. Further encouraging any tension left in shoulders and neck to go away. Coming back into stillness, we walk those hands to the legs, finding our way into our flat back half lift. Elbows hugged in. Exhale, bow down, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms high to the sky. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale, lifting the gaze, taking it up. And exhale, bending the knees, bow down. You can always brace yourself as you walk the hands down the legs, forward fold. Inhale, flat back again, hands on thighs or even resting them on the shins. Keep that core tight, that low back flat. Exhale, bow down, forward fold. From here, we are going to take the weight into that left foot, so right foot's gonna step way back behind you. Coming down to that knee, setting up for this modified crescent lunge with the knee down. From here, your hands can remain on the earth or working them up to the knee, maybe the head forward. Again, checking that alignment of the knee. We want it centered over the ankle or slightly behind. If you're comfortable lifting the head up, trying to stretch through that front right hip, you can do so. Drawing your head forward, taking our hands to the earth once more, finding our way back into our tabletop. From here, a small cat and cow flow, just gently releasing, working mobility into back and belly. From here, setting yourself up for your down dog, tucking your toes and lifting your hips. You can keep your knees bent, your heels lifted, but we want our arms hugging our ears or gaze on that back wall. You can gently walk your dog by bending through one knee and lengthening through the other, exaggerating your hips side to side. Or you can stay in stillness. If you're comfortable rising high in both toes and settling those heels down, just waking up the back of the legs. Inhale, slowly walk your feet forward, forward fold, making your way into your flat back of choice. Core is tight, our backs are most vulnerable in those bends. Exhale, bow down, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms high, and exhale, hands through heart center, shifting the weight to our heels, toes, lift or wiggle, chair pose. Taking a moment, settling in, continuing to shift ourselves into our expression of chair, but not bowing so far forward that our shoulders and head come too much forward. We want to keep our gaze forward. Hands can remain at heart center, extending arms forward or overhead. From here, inhale, lengthen, exhale, hands through heart center, stepping back, right foot, finding our warrior one. The front foot is planted, our knee is gently bent, our back foot is slightly askew, but the entire foot is on the floor. There is a difference, both of our hips are square forward in our crescent in warrior one. But in warrior one, we are not resting on the ball of the foot. The entire foot makes contact. Hands can remain here at heart center. You can cactus the arms or lengthen the arms tall. Continuing to feel that length through that back leg. Then exhale, opening up, turning our hips, and maybe stepping out further to accommodate your warrior two. Your toes point forward, your back foot parallel with the edge of the mat, arms reaching front to back, shoulder level. Taking our warrior flow, inhale, lengthen, straightening arms and legs, gaze to the side. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, warrior two. Settling in here. Before inhale, rotate front palm, facing it towards the ceiling. Drop back hand, reverse warrior as you lift the left arm towards the sky. Finding that length through that side body is less about how far you bend back as much as you lengthen and grow tall while maintaining that deep lunge. From here, returning to our warrior two, hands to heart center, turn the toes facing the side of the room. We are going to set up for our wide V forward fold. Here you may want to have a block nearby, especially if your hamstrings are tight. You might not be able to reach the floor, and you use the ground to support the weight of the body as you settle into these longer holds. Both feet are parallel with the edge of the mat, but the width of your feet varies person to person. From here, we are going to hinge forward, flat back. I like to grab onto my core, feeling it engage as I shift my hips back. We're folding it where the thighs meet the hips. Once you come into your forward fold, once your hands can reach the earth or block, you settle in, maintaining that deep breath. Maybe you keep your hands under shoulders or walking them over to the ankles, elbows drawn wide, pulling your head deep underneath your hips. A third option is to walk your hands further underneath the body, your fingers to the wall behind you as you draw head deeper into the pose. Taking these deep breaths, those tight muscles, that soreness in the body means that oxygen oxygen to help encourage that lactic acid and that tightness to leave. Continuing to breathe, but walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. We're going to take a half lift here so that they can be on floor or block. Extend arms long, making your way into that flat back half lift. From here, you can either take one hand hip, both hands to hip, especially if you're a little unstable. But if you like the challenge, you can extend arms wide, coming up as one solid piece. Taking our hands through heart center. Deep breath in and deep breath out, letting the blood return from our heads. Settling in, it's not uncommon to get a little dizzy as we draw our head back over our hearts. Turn our front left toe, stepping up with our right, making our way to the tops of our mat, finding our mountain pose. Palms face forward, arms by your side, relaxing your shoulders away from our ears, setting up in this foundational pose of strength and stability. Taking another deep breath in, sweep the arms high, exhale, hands to heart center, sitting back into our chair pose. We've been here before, maybe sit a little deeper. Hands can remain heart center, reach, or overhead. Another deep breath in, maybe a little lower. Then inhale, lengthen. Hands to heart center. Stepping back with our left foot, our right foot leans forward, finding our warrior one. So our hips are squared forward, bending into that front leg. Back foot's completely planted. Hands heart center, cactus or lifted. Remembering as we settle into our poses, we don't have to find the proper alignment or the deepest alignment right away. We can take our time to purposely move into the good alignment for you today, as long as it's safe. There's no wrong way to practice. Exhale, hands through heart center, turn our hips, stepping out further, finding our warrior two. Again, our front toes are pointed forward, our knees centered over that foot, our back foot parallel with the edge, and our arms reach front to back. Keeping our head centered over our hips as we reach with our fingers only, our head remains centered. From here, inhale, lengthen leg and arms, gaze to the side, our warrior flow. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, warrior two. Last time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, warrior two. Hands to heart center, turn the toes, facing the other side of the room. This time, taking our toes towards the corners, our heels in. You may need to step in or out, depending on your body. But as we bend the knees, we're taking the steep standing squat or standing goddess. Our knees are going to track towards our toes, but never past them. So this is where you may have to make adjustments to your body. Keeping our head, shoulders, and hips aligned. Hands at heart center is a great reminder as we sit deeper. We are actively pressing our knees behind us here as well. Maybe sit a little deeper. Now you can keep your hands at heart center or open the arms like you're holding the weight of the world on your shoulders. Slowly lengthening the legs, lengthening the arms, returning to standing. Our hands to heart center. Turn our toes facing the tops of our mat, shifting the weight into that right foot as we slowly step up, meeting at the tops of our mat in our mountain pose. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Another deep breath in as we set up for our standing balance pose today. Our balance pose will be knee hold, option to take a knee hold twist. We spent a lot of time opening our hips at the beginning of our practice in anticipation for this pose. And taking it after our warrior series, it's even more warmed up and ready to move. Now, if balance is off for you, you are more than welcome to just stick to the knee hold or toe hold, whatever works for you. Hold on, I'm going to grab a drink of water. But if you need to step off your mat, you can do so. If you would like to step off and hold on to a wall for a little more security, you're welcome to do so as well. But before we move into our standing balance, I want you to find a place, a focus, your jerski. Whether it's a spot on the floor, a place on the wall, not a mirror, not a person, something that moves, something that we can set our gaze on to help focus the mind, which really significantly affects our balance. Then from here, we are going to shift the weight into that left leg. So a gentle bend to the knee, no locking out of our joints, especially when we're weight bearing the body. Then we are going to extend the left arm to the side as we lift through the right knee, hooking it with the right hand. Keep your core tight. You may feel wobbly on your feet, but it's only accommodating the wiggliness it's experiencing in the middle of our body. Holding it here for your knee hold, or taking the twist, drawing the knee forward, switching our left hand to right knee. Right arm goes by the ear, palm faces the center. I want you to make a thumbs up. And then as you rotate belly, then chest, reach the arm behind you. Your thumb should land in the up position. Now your gaze can stay on that focal point, especially if balance is off, but you can challenge your gaze by taking it over the arm behind you. Shifting of the gaze is often when we feel the most wobbly. Gently releasing, making your way back to center. Release your hands to heart center and stepping out of the pose. Take a nice deep breath in and deep breath out. With your next deep breath in, we're going to prepare the body to come to the other side. Taking the weight into the right leg now, gentle bend of that knee. We are going to extend the right arm to the side, palm up, arm, shoulder level. That is most stable. Then lifting through that left knee, hooking it with left hand. Keep that belly tight, that Uddiyana Bandha. Find your jerski. Now you can remain here, take the twist, drawing that knee to center, switching our right hand to left knee, left arm by the ear, palm faces in. Then from here, making that thumbs up with her hitchhiker's finger thumb. Then rotate belly, then chest, reaching the arm behind you. Your thumb should land in the up position. Gaze can stay on your jerski, or challenge yourself taking the gaze over that back hand. Gently releasing, coming back forward, hands to heart center. Stepping out of the pose as you make your way back into your mountain. My cats are still around, still practicing yoga with me. Now as you come back into your mountain pose at the tops of your mat, I want you to steady your gaze, or if you're comfortable, closing your eyes. And as you pause here, maybe Studying the breath as you study the body. Focusing on every exhale has a chance to let go. Stress, limitations, expectations we placed on ourselves, our standing balances, really bring that out of us. It no longer serves you. Allow it to leave. Give it permission. Instead, choosing to embrace every inhale as a new opportunity to begin again. Continuing to breathe as we sweep the arms high to the sky. And exhale, bow down, bending at the knees. You can always brace your hands on the legs as you do so. Forward fold. Now in this forward fold, slightly widening your feet, wider than hips distance. Still bend the knees, belly resting between your thighs. You can take a ragdoll pose here, taking your hands to opposite elbows and gently shifting your weight from foot to foot as you create a small sway. Now we aren't using our core or shoulders to create the sway. It is simply leg driven and the upper body follows along. Now you can continue with this or relax the arms if it's hard to grab onto opposite elbows. Now you can also gently nod yes as you go side to side. Taking a deeper release in this ragdoll. Slowly making your way back into stillness. Our hands return to the floor. Stepping back with one foot, gently lowering down to that knee. Stepping back with the other foot, lowering down to that knee. Finding our tabletop pose. Inhale, lowering cow. Exhale, making your way into your cat. Inhale, making your way into your cow. And exhale, making your way into your cat. From here, coming back into neutral alignment, bring those legs out to the side and take a seat on your mats once more. From here, we are going to take our single bound angle pose. Our right leg extends long, our left leg comes to the inner thigh. If you have a block and you would like to take the block underneath here, it may be more comfortable for your body. You may also want to take a strap, wrapping it around your leg. Wherever you choose to go, we are centering up our shoulders. You can check yourself by extending your arms, and if your arms are the same length, you have good centered shoulders. Hinging forward, flat back, walking hands down, legs, foot, and then bowing down, chin to chest, last. Still breathing deeply here, encouraging the body to release and relax. Slowly making your way back up into seated. We're going to come now to the other side, extending the left leg long, bringing the right foot to the inner thigh, flexing the foot, squaring up our shoulders tall, flat back as we hinge forward. Maintaining flat back, chin to chest is the last step as you settle and sink into the pose. Slowly making your way back up into seated, extending our right leg long, coming into our seated staff pose or seated forward fold, hinging forward, flat back, hands walking down, legs navy strap, and then chin to chest is left. Making your way back up into seated one more time. From here, we are going to work into a little bit of core work because we want strong core so we can have strong yoga practices. For our core work today, we are going to take our Navasana, our boat pose. Now, our variation of boat just depends on the body. So you're more than welcome to take it whatever pace you need. starting by bending the knees, walking the feet in. Our toes can remain on the floor. Tuck your hips, rolling to our hips forward, shifting the weight to the back of the hips. Now you can keep your toes on the floor, your hands behind the thighs, as long as the core remains tight and engaged. You are doing work. You can release your hands. You can lift your legs. Hold on to the thighs or release the arms low. You can hold your boat. Maybe extend the arms high to the sky or extend the legs high to the sky. Holding your boat now, again, I know I'm still saying it. I'm talking on purpose. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing our arms forward, lower our legs controlled, taking them to the earth. From here, we can do our yoga roll down, or you can do it supported or the spaghetti method where you flop on down. But if you have any tools, you may want to bring them down by your hips just so that you have them easy reaching distance, or you'll get an extra crunch in. And while I appreciate it, you don't get any extra bonus points for me for doing extra work. But in your yoga roll down, you are rolling down one vertebrae at a time, slow and controlled, until the entire length of the spine is on the floor once more. Once you're here, you're walking those feet in, bringing them closer to your hips. Your knees and your feet are hips distance apart. We're going to make our way into our bridge pose. If you have never done this, turn and watch before you lift your hips up, because once your hips are off the earth, you do not turn your head even a little bit, or you risk injuring the neck. The first step is straining it. You can do worse. So please don't. I like you guys. I want you to stay healthy and strong and safe. Keep that gaze on the ceiling, your chin off your chest, your arms by your side, palms down. Press with your feet as your hips rise. Engage through the tops of the thighs. Don't let your knees fall out to the side as well. We're letting our belly rise and fall with every deep breath, allowing it to relax and stretch out, especially after that core work with our boat pose. Lifting it higher for another 3, 2, and 1. Slowly rolling down one vertebrae at a time until our hips are on the floor. Once your hips are on the floor, you can come into Supta Baddha Konasana or laying butterfly. Soles of your feet touch, your knees fall out wide. Now in this double bound angle pose, if this is too uncomfortable, sometimes our hips just don't agree with this pose. You may find the modification where you walk your feet out to the edge and knock your knees together is more comfortable for you. But wherever you settle with the legs, I want you to either take your arms out to a T or cactus the arms alongside, meaning the elbows are at shoulder level and your arms are creating that 90-degree angle. Opening our chest as we take deep and full breaths here. Now you can continue this deep breathing with open chests and open hearts. Or if you're in need of a little deeper shoulder stretch, or just simply would like the hug or restorative breath, you can wrap your arms across your chest. The weight of the arms helping to stretch out the back of the shoulders, specifically between the shoulder blades. The weight of the arms is impacting our inhales, but it is deepening our exhales, creating a restorative breath, meaning our exhales are longer than our inhales, like causing a chemical chain reaction in the body so that it slows down the stress hormones and signals, so relaxing hormones. Now, as you continue to breathe here, I want you to memorize which arm's on top, because we like our balance in yoga. We have to do both sides evenly. You're going to gently open those arms back out to a T and bring the top arm to the bottom arm to the top, as you give yourself a second hug. Gently releasing your arms, drawing your knees and your feet together, taking both knees to your chest here, hugging them close to the body. Now the weight of the LX is helping to lengthen that low back, especially if you're tight or tender here today. That may be an added benefit. But coming full circle from where we started, if you would like to, you can circle those knees. And yes, that was a corny intended double meaning joke. As you roll those knees in a circle, you may notice you get a little bit of a back massage and low back and hip massage. Carefully reversing that circle, working through both directions, because us yogis like our balance. Coming back into stillness, hug those knees to chest, find that full length of the back on the ground before opening the knees to the outside of the ribs, flexing the feet, and coming into our full happy baby. Our hands can come behind our thighs, behind our calves again, or if you can reach your feet without lifting head, neck, shoulders, or tailbone, you can do so, keeping that 90-degree angle of the legs. Now you can stay here in stillness, we call that post-dead bug, or you can gently rock side to side, finding your happy baby pose. If you smile, you give that much more meaning to the name of the pose. Making your way back into stillness, once more releasing feet, calves, or thighs, taking our knees together, hugging them close to the body. Here we are going to take our final pose before we make our way into our final relaxation. Our legs up a wall pose. Here you can simply extend the legs towards the ceiling, stacking them over the hips or as close to over the hips as possible. You may be more comfortable here taking a pillow or a block, or actually taking your legs up against the wall. If you're taking a pillow or a block under your hips, elevating them slightly higher than your heart to get a little bit more inversion. And using that for your practice, you're going to come through your bridge pose, keep your gaze on the ceiling as you lift your hips, and then gently settle your hips back onto the block or pillow, trying not to have any of it touching the spine. Simply re-extend your legs long. Using this inversion to help bring a sense of relaxation to the body, as well as restoration. It is thought that inverting the legs higher than the heart helps drain the lymphatic system, helps decrease the heart rate, bringing a sense of calm to the body. You can also use this pose before you go to bed at night to get the same benefits for a more restful sleep. Or you can simply practice it because it feels good. Now, as you lie here, you can slowly start to close your eyes in anticipation of final relaxation. To come out of this pose, you gently bend the knees, allowing the feet to return to the floor. And once your feet are secure, lifting the hips enough just to slide the block or pillow away. We're making our way into final relaxation. If you're up against the wall, you may want to slide out so you have enough space to lay down. And making your way comfortable. If you need to have a block under head or pillow, you may do so, or even jacket or socks here. You can keep the knees bent, the feet planted, but if you're comfortable extending long, you may do so, letting your feet lay out. Your arms come alongside your body, your palms face up, or hands resting on your belly, palms down. As we allow every single muscle in the body to work towards stillness, it becomes heavy. The eyelids close, but not squeeze tightly, gently. Relax the jaw and the tongue, the mouth may slightly hang open. Allow become soft and shallow, the chest barely rising with every inhale. And last, certainly not least, taking your mind so it's present, but without lingering thoughts, letting them come and go gently, acknowledging them, and then just as quickly letting them go as you find your Shavasana. Taking a deep breath in, bringing life back into your bodies. And with another deep breath in, you can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rolling your wrists and your ankles. And when you're ready, making your way onto your right side, gently cradling your head with your arm like a pillow. As you pause here for just a second, your eyes can remain closed. And while you pause, drawing your attention back to that dedication, giving it one last thought. Whether it's without judgment or simply sending love out to somebody else. But using that thought, draw yourself back into seated. As we finish our practice by drawing our hands to heart center, our eyes remain closed. And what really roughly translates is the light in me sees or respects the light in you. Namaste. Thank you guys for sharing your practice with me today. I do have a final thought. Today it comes from Maya Angelou. Excuse me. The brain turns to mush after Shavasana, I swear. That I'm highly influenced by my own experience with this social distancing and this never experienced before for all of us pandemic. I can be changed by what has happened to me, but I refused to be reduced by it. With that, thank you for sharing your practice with me tonight or tomorrow or any time you choose to practice this. Have a great time, night, day, or whatever time. Bye guys.